Good morning, all of you. Hope I am audible.
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah, our team IDEX DIO warmly welcome concerned nodal officers and representatives from the industries to this outreach session. Today, we conclude the Navy's outreach session as well. So, we begin today's session by taking up one ADITI challenge and four DIS challenges. So, I would like to start with the ADITI challenge. That is diesel engine generator exhaust system for submarine. I request the concerned nodal officer to take over and uh, please explain the particular challenge as well as the problem statement.
Good morning, sir. I am Lieutenant Commander Nibin from Naval Headquarters, Directorate of Marine Engineering. So the problem statement that we have given is one set of exhaust valves that are fitted on Calvary class submarines, wherein we are facing an issue with seawater ingress through this exhaust valve. Basically, when I say exhaust valve, it doesn't pertain to the diesel engine, but it is in the exhaust trunking, wherein the exhaust from the diesel engine goes outside to the seawater. So always the exhaust is discharged under a water column. So these are three flaps on, if I say one particular engine, port and starboard, we have port and starboard. If I say one particular engine, this engine has got the first exhaust valve as inner exhaust valve, which is a metal to metal contact. And then it goes to snot or surface. So either ways, when it goes to the snot or surface, still it is a metal to metal contact. And then it opens to the sea. So as you can see, the problem statement that I've given, are we opening that, sir?
Yes, we are opening.
Yes, sir. I'll just wait for it.
Hope the screen is visible.
No, sir.
No, it's not.
Yeah, one second. Now it's visible.
Yes, sir. You can open that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Can we scroll down, sir?
Yeah.
We'll have a picture diagram kind of thing, a layout of it.
Yeah, there is no layout as such. Only thing is a problem statement as well as explanation. That market potential.
Okay, understood. Okay, sir, copied. So I'll just explain
Yeah.
from here. When the exhaust comes out of the diesel engine, so it after passing through the turbocharger, so it has to be released overboard. So normal in case of ships, we release it to the atmosphere. But in case of submarines, because of the stealth, we release it underwater. So once it has to go underwater, there are two regimes to it, which is surface regime and snorting regime. So snorting regime comes into play when the submarine is dived and we start our diesel engine at a periscopic depth, which is at 14 meters or say 9 meters or whatever kind of depth it is. But then the exhaust is always delivered underwater. So the flaps that are involved in this to allow the exhaust to go to the sea is the first exhaust flap is inner exhaust flap and the second exhaust flap is surface exhaust flap. And first I'm narrating about the incident where the submarine is on surface. Okay. And the probable depth or the back pressure that is available on the engine at this point of time is around 0.6 bar. And when it comes to the snorting regime, the depth is around 1.4 meters. The back pressure is around 1.4. The engine has to create that much of back pressure to overcome this water column that is available, and it is again delivered outside to the seawater or to the sea through flaps called snot and general exhaust flap. So the problem statement that we have as of now is all these three flaps that are involved, that is not surface and inner, these are metal to metal contact, and we are facing an issue of seawater ingress. Like when the engine is running, it is fine, but when the engine is not running, these flaps are to give me watertight integrity. It has to shut, and it has to make sure that there is no water that is in there is no water ingress in the trunking or in the submarine. So this trunking is of around 250 dia. So once water starts coming into this trunking, so it has got some drains through which we get to know that this flap is not holding, and then we try to counter it. Like we have our pumping out arrangement and stuff. So this is not a favorable situation wherein the submarine faces seawater ingress, and as per the depth, the rate of flooding increases. So this is our problem statement, and we are looking for a indigenized or a new mod development of a design wherein we don't have to stick to the existing design, and we know the existing design is not the best of the design that we can have. So we are open to change of design in these exhaust flaps and development of three flaps on one side. And yeah, total it is of five flaps. One flap is identical to each other. The first hull valve is identical to port and starboard, and the rest two are not identical. So we are looking for development of a prototype for five types of valves, and then followed by supply chain of five valves. So this is my problem statement, sir. And if there is any technical things that are to be technical specifications that are to be shared with you, it will be shared with you for your analysis. And yeah, we are looking for a proposal from all of you. That's it, sir. I'm done.
Participants, if you have any queries, please post it in the chat box. Otherwise, you can discuss it now. If there is no question, I think we'll move on to the next question, next statement. So next we'll take up design and development of Submarine multimodal foundation model. I request the concerned nodal officer to please take up this particular challenge.
Sir, do we have an opportunity to ask a question regarding the last challenge now?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah, I would like to know if the reason for this failure on the metal to metal contact is due to some kind of erosion on the metal surface, or due to some kind of growth on the surface of, let's say, marine growth or something like that.
So very good morning. The problem that we face is, since it is a metal to metal contact, the exhaust that comes through this builds up a carbon suit on the valve seat and this on the valve itself. So what kind of arrangement that we have now is a ball joint assembly where the grinding of the exhaust flap happens. So it is like a lapping arrangement that we have, wherein the valve and valve seat go into a lapping position for 3 or 4 seconds to ensure that the seating is done. So over a period of time, since the exhaust is at 650 degrees Celsius, and the ball joint that we have for this free movement of the valve disc gets jammed over a period of time. So that now that the valve disc does not move properly, so the grinding does not happen properly, and the seating is also kind of the seating has not yet eroded on many of the platforms. Yeah, but the oldest ones it has started. So the metallurgy of the seat is also what we are looking at, and the seat has got a coating called stellite coating. So yeah, that has also started eroding in certain submarines, the older platforms. Yes.
So the failure cause of the ball joint that you mentioned is primarily accumulation of soot and for other particles.
No, sir. This ball joint comes in a cup assembly wherein it is already filled up with a kind of grease called copa slip. So there is no greasing arrangement that is directly given to this ball joint when it is functioning, like when it is inserted as an installed for after the first time. So now whatever copa slip that is there gets consumed over a period of time, and then the scoring starts, and then this ball joint jams at a particular point of time. Say for example 3 months, 2 months. Within a period of 3 or 4 months, this gets jammed, and the moment you this jams, the grinding does not happen. So that is an indication. When the grinding does not happen, you get to know that uh, the ball joint has seized, so you have to replace it.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So any other questions, sir?
I'm done, sir. Let's move on to the next challenge, if there's one.
Sir, Mr. Abraham Verghese from Gears and Wheels, he wants to put on a query, but I suppose he's not able to join. So he's dropping and joining once again, sir. So let's just wait for 2 minutes, sir.
I can hear now, sir.
Yes, Mr. Verghese, what is your query related to these exhaust valves?
Sir, I'm fine, sir. Now I can hear.
Yeah. So you understood the entire problem statement, or should I repeat it?
If you can, sir, please.
Yeah. Sir, DOA, is it okay that I repeat the entire problem statement?
Sir, you can shortly brief it, to if required for the firm.
Okay, copy. Hello, Mr. Verghese. As I told you, as I told earlier, the problem statement is seawater ingress from the exhaust flap valves that we have on board P75 class of submarines. So wherein we have three metal-to-metal contact valves, which is inner exhaust, surface, and snot. So the problem that we are facing is seawater ingress through these trunkings, and which leads into seawater ingress inside the diesel engine as well, and the exhaust trunking. So which is a undesirable condition. So what we are looking into as part of this ADITI challenge is the design and development of a new design. It can be a new design, it can be existing design, but I'm sure that the existing design is not the best of the flaps that are available in the international market or the Indian market. So that is what we are looking into, a new design and prototype development of these uh, 5 types of exhaust valves. Mr. Verghese, anything? Any queries?
No, sir. I'm absolutely clear on the system, sir. I am well aware. We have also modeled it. We have the solid model of the valve of the inner exhaust, and the other two exhausts, which are two-way valve, is much more simpler, but the methodology is the same. So we understand that this is exposed to a very high temperature of around 600 degrees and bearing. Uh, the problems we are well aware of, and we have done some modifications to the valve, and uh, as of now, it is fine. Uh, uh, and we have increased the clearance and we have changed the sealing material. So, I, but end of the day, what we have seen is the German valves are not exposed to this kind of heat, wherein the sealing is much more better. Only problem is the valve size is much more higher. So, uh, as far as a hull comes, hull, we cannot have such a big this thing, wherein when the valve opens, it actually closes up the into the seawater, where the seat is not exposed to high temperature. But in this methodology, we have tried modeling it and trying to so with the same outline of the valve, it is not possible, sir. So we have done some modifications. We are still awaiting for the trial uh, outcomes. Sir.
I understand, Mr. Burgess, but as I told you, the existing design is not the best design that is available in the market. So that is why we are putting up this as a ADITI challenge, wherein the design itself can be changed, keeping in mind the trunking dia and the amount of seawater double jacket cooling that is happening inside the trunking. So these are the things that has to be considered for all the benefit of all the stakeholders. I'm saying the temperature is exhaust temperature is around 650 degrees Celsius. It is always exposed to the pressure according to the depth of the submarine. Say, for example, if it is 300 meters, the 30 bar pressure of seawater is acting on these exhaust valves, and always it operates with a back pressure. And yeah, as he told, it is a valve wherein the ball joint is also exposed to exhaust temperature. So yeah, seizure of the ball joint. So we understand in totality that the existing design is not the best design. So that's why we are looking for a better design from. Yes, sir.
Mr. Varghese, this is Captain Bipin from Naval Headquarters, DME.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Varghese. What is being brought out is that we are looking at a complete change in design. We are not looking at replicating whatever is already fitted. Whatever is there fitted on the submarine has got a lot of issues, which has been intimated earlier as well, and you are aware of it since you have worked on it. It is just not the metallurgy, it is the design, it is the problem in terms of quick wear and tear. It is also that the flap integrity gets lost. So you have to come up with a new design which resolves all these things rather than doing a reverse engineering. I hope I'm clear on this.
It's absolutely clear, sir. Only thing is the aperture and how much space I can occupy
So you
is
can,
to be known, sir.
if there is a requirement to say further clarify or do a visit. I do not know that maybe DOI can clarify if there are any further queries. How do we look at addressing it? Is it possible, madam, to have some kind of a visit for the firm, or how is it going to be?
I request DIO to please answer this. DIO? Anybody from DIO?
We can.
Can you please repeat the query, please, once again? Hello, are you audible?
Yeah, I'm Captain Bipin from NHQ, the Nodal Directorate DME, which is steering this case through DOI. I just wanted to know if the participating firms for the outreach today and all those who have shown interest, if they require to clarify further in terms of what is the requirements. Is it possible for them to any other means for them to understand or make a visit on site? Is it feasible? Is that an option available?
That is completely Navy's call. If So what we can do from our end is we can wait till 4 o'clock today. We can gather all the requests if the participant want to send us a mail, or if they want to fill the query form that we hosted on our website. So if they can fill it, and what we can do is we can collate it specific to this challenge, and we can forward it to Navy. And probably if there is a visit involved for this, and I believe DME can coordinate for this. So DOI has no issues with it.
Yeah, so my point here was that for understanding the problem statement and the requirements, since this is fitted on a submarine and it's a critical equipment, visit by the firms will give them a better appreciation and of the problem statement and what is expected out of them. And more so, I'm not able to make out today which all firms have come up for the outreach program. Gears and Wheels, I can see. I've interacted with them earlier. Mr. Arun, you're from which firm? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Sir, I am from Optimized Solutions Ahmedabad.
Understood. Any other firms, if DOI could clarify, other than Gears and Wheels and the Optimized Solutions, anybody else who's logged in for the outreach program?
DIO, can you please check which all firms joined, and please give us details to Captain Pepin?
Yeah, we're just looking into it. Just a second.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. My name is Gagan. I'm representing Trigger Thai AI Labs. We're not a firm as such, but we're a startup.
Understood. Fine. Fine. So all those who are there today for the outreach program, as indicated, if there are any further queries and clarifications, you can come to us through Directorate of Indigenization, and we'll be able to address those issues as well. That's it from Naval Headquarters DME.
So we actually don't require a site visit. We basically require to uh, find out the model and then integrate it with uh, the submarine outer hull and see how it is going to impact uh, that size variation to open up the valve into the jacket. So it is basically a thing which we have to actually work on. It is
Fine.
not on site, sir.
Fine, Mr. Varghese. If you feel that there's no requirement of an on-site visit, absolutely fine. That option was being discussed primarily so that there's a better understanding, and if there is any further clarification required, a visit would help. If not for Gears and Wheels, any other firm which comes up, there should not be a problem. So we'll be more than happy to take them on site and explain what is the problem and what is the requirement.
Ma'am, my query to DOI is regarding IMI Chennai. Ma'am, did they join the meeting or they've been joined?
Actually, the startups that were for the list that was forwarded to us, it was for P75 Submarine Challenge. So
Yes, yes,
the
sir.
same was intimated to the startups. I
Yes, sir.
believe based on the timings, I believe they'll join proportionately.
Okay, sir. So
So
it was
P75 we've kept at the last actually.
okay, sir.
Yeah, so they might join sometime probably because we tried calling them, they're not responding.
Yes, sir. Copied, sir. Copied, sir.
So, sir, on this program, so how do we go about it? Okay, now we have a issue. Uh, we know what the issue is, and now how do we develop it, and how does this indigenization program actually help us in, or do we have a time frame and all those things? And is there any report or anything what we have to forward? Not very sure how the system works. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, from DOI, will you be able to explain this, ma'am, for Mr. Verghese?
So the systems works the requirement, the procedure of IDEX, are they asking? Garen Mills, are you asking the procedure of IDEX? How they're working, how you apply in this and how the things goes? Is that the question?
Ma'am, it is not about the technical part of it. How uh, how this program actually works. I mean, like, okay, we have an issue. Now we will start working on the issue. So before that, whether we have to put up some papers or report to you, and uh, uh, then after that, is there a time frame? So all this we want to know.
Okay, fine. So I request DIO to please elaborate more on the process of IDEX, how the firm will apply in this thing, and how the procedurally how this things goes. So the management part is handled by DIO, Defense Innovation Organization, and we are the facilitators, DOI, from Naval side, Naval Headquarters. So I think this question is being answered by DIO. So request DIO to please pitch in.
May I know which is the startup?
Sir, we are not a startup, sir. We have
Okay,
been in the industry for the last 35 years. And
okay. So I'll tell you the
I, my,
process.
my,
So if you
my name is
visit our
Abraham.
Okay. So, Mr. Abraham, you'll have to visit our website. It's idex.gov.in. So, you'll find the challenges button on the top right corner. If you click on it, you'll see all the challenge categories. So, as of today, we have only three challenge categories, that is disk, Aditi, and open challenge. So, in disk and Aditi, the problem statement is given by the services, including Defense Space Agency and ICG, and the solution is given by startups, MSMEs, and individual innovators. And the open challenge category is a suo motu proposal, wherein the problem statement as well as the solution is given by the startup, MSME, or the individual innovator. Right. So as of today, we have no the eligibility criteria for applying. We have no such mandates or requisites to apply. But to get shortlisted, you either have to be a startup or fall under the MSME category, right? So, and when you talk about filling the form for the challenge, so sir, it's a self-explanatory form. It's like it's a, I believe there are 2 to 3 attachments that you have to upload. It will be a pitch deck, probably details about your company. That's it, sir. It's very simple. So on 4th of May, once we close it, we'll forward the applications to the services. Like for instance, for this problem statement that you're applying, if it's for Indian Navy, we'll forward it to Indian Navy. Once Indian Navy shortlists your application, we'll call you for the next round, wherein you will be presenting a detailed pitch deck to the panel. If the panel deems you as a winner, we will declare you as a winner and we'll sign a contract and we will release the funds for the project. It happens in 6 milestones. So subsequently, we release the fund, you bring in the fund, we start the development, Navy monitors the cases, the development, we monitor the development, so you will get a partner incubator. So this is the entire system, how it works from applying to the contract signing stage. Mr.
Thank
Abraham,
you, sir. So the first part is I have to fill up the application and send it. I visited the website yesterday night, sir, and I saw all this in that. So I know where the location is. So in that I have to do the application as early as possible, the latest
yes.
by
So I'll
3rd.
recommend not to wait till the last day because we might have more rush. So to avoid any technical glitches, so it's better you apply as soon as possible, but don't wait till the last moment.
Roger, sir. Understood.
Yeah. Is there anything else, Mr. Abraham?
Absolutely clear, sir. So we will start with step number 1. So we will see as it goes. Sir, to DME, I have one question, sir. So we are going to work on the system, uh, which includes the inner exhaust and the surface exhaust. and the forward side exhaust? And is the general exhaust also included, sir?
No, sir, the general exhaust is not included in this challenge because it is not a metal to metal contact. So we are not going to involve the general exhaust with this.
So we will have the entry that is fixed point from the penetration.
Affirmative will have our entry from the inner exhaust valve, which is the hull valve type, and then we move towards snot and surface, and that's it. So inner trunking, if you see, we are talking about 3 valves. In totality, if you see, we are talking about 5 valves because inner is replica for port and starboard. Mr. Abraham, any other query?
Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello, it's Mehboob from Origami Industry speaking. Actually, I had a general question about the application process. Like, what is the technology readiness level like we should be before applying? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, like what should be the TRL level before we apply to the IDEX? Is there any criteria related to that?
Hi, good morning. This is Lieutenant Colonel Brother from TDAC. From a pitch in here. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, hello?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello.
Yeah, hello?
You're audible, sir. Please
Hello?
continue. Hello.
Yeah.
Please continue, sir. You're audible.
Sorry. So, with the gentleman who just asked the query regarding TRL, but if I'm not wrong, TRL is generally at technology level or technology domain level, not at product level. If you can deliver a product, you have to be at a very high TRL. If technology is at TRL 1 or 2 itself, it will not be asked as a product itself in the first place. And TRLs are generally technology domain wise, so not specific companies product wise. Does that satisfy your query, sir?
Yeah, it's clear.
Good morning, IDEX team. This is Ravinder from Technodate AI. We are a startup. Just wanted to confirm the foundational model and the hardware for computing. Those sessions are scheduled after this. Hello, hello. Hello, IDEX team. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please come again.
Ji ma'am. So the foundational model and the computing hardware, those sessions are scheduled after this?
Sir, we started our outreach sessions from March 23rd, 2026. So as of today, we have completed all the sessions. So this is the last outreach session that we are having. You will find all the sessions. So all the sessions were recorded, and you will find them on our YouTube channel, Defense Innovation Organization. So we have created a specific playlist for this 14 and ADITI 4. So we have covered all the challenges. You'll find all the recordings over there, and so the queries also that the startups have asked. So you'll find over there. So I believe majority of your queries will be resolved from there itself.
Yes, sir. Actually, I saw downloaded the link just now from IDEX, and it says that the foundational model is today on this link.
Yes,
So,
yes, it is today.
I'm so sorry.
okay.
We'll have it today. We'll have it today. So I believe it was for a previous time you were asking. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I got my answer.
If there are no more questions on the current problem statement, can we move on to the next one? All right, moving to the next problem statement. Problem statement is design and development of sovereign model, multi-modal foundational model. The problem statement is on the screen. I request the nodal officer to please take over.
Good morning, everyone. This is Lieutenant Commander Abhishek Vedam from TDAP. So the PDS-PRU pertains to the design and development of a new architecture for a sovereign LLM. The PDS-PRU has been made as detailed as possible, and I'm pretty sure that most of your queries would have been answered in the PDS-PRU itself because most of the specifications have been explained in detail in the PDS-PRU. If any gentleman has any queries regarding that, I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Hi, sir. This is Utkarsh representing Zoytech. Actually, I didn't get your name. Could you please repeat that and the directorate if that's okay?
Utkarsh, this is Lieutenant Commander Vardhan from TDAP.
From DDAC. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. This is Ravinder from Technodate AI. I did go through the details here. One thing I could not find was the model size in terms of parameters. So may I know what is the model size that you are looking at? And architecturally, I saw there are four modalities. The data related to those modalities that will be provided by Navy for training the initial model, as well as when we are submitting our proposal in terms of architectural, are there any specific guidelines that you would like to share, or I think we can ask them as a query in the form? These are the questions that I have: the model size, specific architectural, the data, and the any specifications related to the model architecture.
Morning. Thank you for your question, and I'll be as precise as I can be. So if you go through the PDS PRU, we will decide that I have specifically not mentioned the size anywhere. What the PDS PRU focuses on is the architecture that we want. Because even if you give me a 1 GB model which qualifies all of these architectures, I'm more than happy to have it. But a 1 GB model probably will never end up giving you an architecture like this. So my job as in this PDS PRU, or what we are trying to do, is define the architecture and the modalities that we want from the LLM, with all the functionalities and the kind of variants that we are looking for. As far as the size is decided, that is for you guys to tell me what is the maximum size or the minimum size of the model or the model parameter with which you can comply with all the architectural requirements in detail. Now, as far as the data is concerned, for any sovereign LLM, you will need to use a normal web corpora or Apache licensed corpora for the normal English language or the multilingual language capability to be there. Now, as far as the naval database is concerned, I think it's been mentioned in the PDSPRU as well that the specific domain data of Navy will be provided by Navy for training the LLM. That you will not have to get yourself. Obviously, you can't even get yourself that. But obviously, the basic language training of the LLM to teach it how the language works or the structure of the language, especially for English and multilingual languages, that will need the online available web corpora. And as the architecture goes, I've already told you, sir, the PDSPRU is completely focused only on the architectures or the modules of the architecture of the SLM, of the sovereign LLM that we are looking for. Parameters, you tell me with what parameter you can actually give me these architectural goals.
Understood, sir.
That
On the
answers your
follow,
question, sir.
yes, sir. Just one small follow-up on the architectural side. There are again different approaches. For example, the Mamba architecture, the transformer-based architecture. So that freedom is also there for us to approach or to
Sir, you can
propose.
use a recursive network for all I care. So if you see the PDSPRU talks about the exact architecture that I'm looking for, it should have self autoencoders. I should have some kind of a mechanistic review possible. It should have modalities possible in the future. Now, what kind of architecture you choose, that depends completely. I mean, if you're talking about the exact model architecture, आपको transformer बनाना है, RNN बनाना है, that depends on you. I'm talking about the modalities of the architecture per se, कि मुझे what we want from the model, how it should behave, how the pipelines inside should be there, and how the output should be there.
Understood,
Does
sir.
that clear
Thank
it
you.
out, sir?
Yes, sir. It
Thank you,
does.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And sir, like when we are talking about sovereign, so and a foundational model for. So I just want to like from it is clear that you want a foundational model fully trained on your data only. So is there any possibility of allowing these models, not foundational models, to be the fine-tuned version of the sovereign language models that have been created by, let's say, the other India mission entities?
May I know who this person is? I
This
could
is
not
this
get
is
your question.
Prakash Pimple from SIDAC.
Good morning, Mr. Prakash. First of all, no, we would not want you to take any existing. So, even if you take any existing sovereign LLM in India right
Yeah.
now, none of them satisfy all of the parameters that I have put as the architectural requirements for the SLLM. Okay, if you can name one, sir, I'd be more than happy to have that.
True. Understood. Understood. I was just thinking of is there any deviation
So,
allowed?
if I no, so
And
there is
that's
no deviation from the architecture. What you're
yeah.
talking about is fine tuning of an existing open source model or a sovereign model. By fine
Yes.
tuning, you can't change the architecture, sir. By
Yeah.
fine
Understood.
tuning, you only change the last 1% of the last layer of the neurons. So actually,
Understood.
what you are
Understood.
changing are the weights. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's answered. Thanks.
So this is Ravinder again. I have one more question, please.
Kindly go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. So, sir, in this is a sovereign model, but in this, if we have certain international collaborations for research part, how does IDEX see that? Is that allowed or is that a strong no-go?
Sir, when we are talking about Make in India and this thing is supposed to be, and plus, I am not even understanding why would we need a foreign support for research in a subject like sovereign LLM now. I mean, this is not some kind of a research which is a hardware intensive research that you can't find inside India, sir. I mean, this is a general doubt that I have. What part of the architecture is in a way that it cannot be done inside India, sir?
I got my answer, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. This is Parmesh representing Resilience Business Pits LLP from Coimbatore. So we are in. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir. You're audible.
So we are building a similar architecture for one of previous problem statements from desk 13 for the Indian Navy. So it doesn't, which does not include sensory data. The other three components are covered in it, and it would be an sovereign LLM. So is it okay that I repurpose that as well?
Sir, you can do whatever you feel like, but I'm only repeating one thing, sir. If you see this in this complete PDF PRU, I have not even mentioned the model weights or number of parameters anywhere because we are not exactly bothered by it. Every detail of the
My question
architecture,
was
every module, sir. So what I'm saying is, as long as you satisfy my requirements of the architecture and the modalities that I want from the model, as long as that is there, how does it make a difference if you're using any existing model and you are changing it? But that will be extremely difficult to do because the kind of architecture that I'm looking for, if you don't have that exact architecture baked in before you start the training, it will be very difficult to change the architecture completely of any base model, also not even a foundational model.
That is where my question lies, sir. Right now, we are the stages of building it, and we have not completed the training yet. So we have a possibility to integrate the additional modalities as well. So all three is already existing. We have already taken data for it. Now the only thing is we need to add sensory data only. So is it okay if I build two such
Sir, that
similar
is
things?
completely your call, sir. It is completely your call. Our job, I mean, what our
No,
requirement is already there.
my question is on the ownership part, because in there what we have is that the company holds 100% of the IP, but in this problem statement it states that we need to give you the source codes, and the rights lies with the Indian Navy. So my question is on
Yes.
that part.
So that is a separate question altogether. So as long as you trying to package your existing product in a different way, that is your call. IP is our call. For this particular thing, if we are going to have it everywhere, our call has been to keep the IP with the Navy for this particular product specifically. Because if the sovereign LLM comes in, it will be at different levels of the organization. It will both be at the edge deployment and at the office and other deployment places. So the IP here we would want to retain the IP for this. If you provide it once to the Navy, I'm pretty sure that you will have to service it and take care of it for the rest of its life within the services itself. I think that should be enough for you so that you don't need to own the IP to sell the product somewhere else as well. Either which way, it's your call, finally.
Sure, sir. Got your point. And one more question is on the modalities of deployment. So you have asked for a quantized, whether the quantization has to be done by us or it will be taken care after the development of the model. So whether that will falls under, this is because you have asked for three modalities. One is a full-scale system, one is an quantized model optimized for CPU usage, and the other is a task-specific fine-tuned models. So whether this how to call it, whether the option to do it is already present, well, already obviously it will be present in an LLM, but whether we will be doing it in this as part of this IDEX cycle or it would be a separate cycle.
No, sir. So all three are deliverables of the same product. So the base model that you will have, or the most competent model, or the most dense model that you will have, that will have a different job profile altogether. Quantized models are only for official users, where you don't need a lot of intelligence to be there. But but for the edge deployment, it is not quantized version only. You can have a very smaller size version for EOIR or any kind of a sensor data. It need not be a quantized version, because when you're going down from your precision and from float 16 to
Yes,
8
so
or
80.
4, you're actually losing out on accuracy on it. So as far as the office tasks are concerned, a quantized model works. But for that edge deployment, you will need separate modules of or separate variants of the models, which are of a lesser size, which actually is possible if you're only trying to work with a particular type of sensor data, which will be the use case actually when you go for edge deployment. However, all these three are part of the deliverables of the same LLM because they'll be from the same model family, sir. Does that clear it out, sir?
Yes, it clears it to a certain extent. My question is on I agree that it's part of the deliverables, and so to what extent? My question was to what extent. So if I'm going to fine tune it, say on a particular use case, So it may be one use case, it may be a number of use cases. So how we are going to I'm going to limit my activity for this IDES project, and what would be the activities after that? So
No,
because if you can have
if you
a n number
might
of activities,
elaborate a
yes,
little more, sir. So you're more concerned about how many variants you'll have to produce?
the variants you have produced, yes, you're talking about 3 different type of deployments. Agreed on that. In say particular that I'm going to either I'm going to quantize it
Sir,
or I'm going to
if I may, I'm sorry to disturb you, sir, but just answer my one query, sir.
yes, sir.
If you satisfy all of my architectural requirements and make one base model, if I ask you to make 20 other variants for specific tasks, is that a very humongous job thereafter, sir?
It probably involves my point as well. It probably involves monetary things as well. So, and the time period
No,
for
not
setting up my
exactly
IDEX
monetary,
period
sir,
is
because if you go through this, I have specifically said here that any Indian company or firm which is developing a sovereign LLM, they have been provided free GPU access under India AI mission, and Navy will help you get the free GPUs for this. So there should be no large expenditure on the hardware for training these models.
yes, sir.
So that part is already being catered after by the government and by the Navy, sir. So what I'm saying is, if you can meet all of our requirements as far as the architecture is concerned, and you have the base model ready, then making a distilled model for edge deployment or for office deployment, that should not be a huge task thereafter, sir. Am I wrong,
Got
sir?
your point, sir. No, I got your point, sir. Because the missions are already there. There is the only cost is added as human cost only.
Understood. Yes, sir. That is exactly what I was trying to say, sir.
Okay, sir. Got your point. So I missed out on the mission part. Sorry for that.
No problem at all, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Gagan Kaushal. I'm representing Trigarthaya Labs. I have a few questions.
Good morning. Kindly go ahead.
All right. So, is there a scope within the program to explore synesthetic AI paradigms for cross-modal interferences? Where relationships between different signal domains can be leveraged to enhance perception and detection capabilities. The reason I ask is, given the multimodal nature of the problem, would the approaches based on synesthetic AI enabling
Hello? Hello?
I'm sorry. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible now. I think you're cut off for the last 20-30 seconds or so.
I apologize. I'll repeat myself. So I'm just trying to understand, is there a scope within the program to explore synesthetic AI paradigms for cross-modal interferences, where relationships between different signal domains can be leveraged to enhance perception and detection capabilities, given the multimodal nature of the problem?
Sir, I'm a little confused with what you're trying to say here because what I'm asking for are particular variants for particular sensor type of data. So how does synesthetic AI exactly fit in here? That is for
So,
somewhere where I'm trying to collate data where the data are from different types of domain or different types of sensor at one place and then trying to synthesize them into one cohesive picture. Am I right, sir?
understood. And exactly, and that's exactly my
But I'm
point.
not asking you for that. I'm asking you for particular AI models which are smaller in size, derived from the same model family for particular sensor data types. Now, even if I have 4 different sensors with 4 smaller models which are actually looking after one sensor only, and the output of the 4 data, if I need to synthesize at one place, I don't need a module to be a synthesis. What was the word? I'm synthetic AI or something like that. To tell it very plain words for a layman like me, sir. If I have my AOIR, if I have my ASW, if I have my EW radar data coming in one place, with even one model catering to all these 3 data, I don't need to merge different kind of domain knowledge into this because they are not to be experts in that domain. Their only job is to get the data in real time, analyze the data in real time, which even a human can do, but he will take a longer time to do it, and then provide you the result of it. That has more to do with me with reducing or cutting down the amount of bandwidth I require to get data 24/7 continuously from a sensor back to my operating base. to only getting vital or relevant information based on events back to my base and not getting a 24/7 continuous bandwidth jam because of all the data coming in. The idea is to filter data at the sensor level itself and only send vital data back. For that, you will need a specific agents for each kind of sensor input. Synthesizing them, I don't need a different kind of an architecture to do that. If this architecture which we have stated works out, the same architecture with even one or two smaller models handling it should actually work out quite nicely, in my opinion.
I agree with your point, sir. It's just that research appears to suggest that correlating data and basically it's a perception engine based on correlating data and synesthetic AI is highly accurate. That's what the research has suggested. That's the only reason I'm asking the question.
No issues at all, sir. We can throw in some other fancy words as well, but finally, all it's doing is pattern matching between the data. And what you're trying to say is, in this case, it will be extremely good at pattern matching between data from different kind of sources. But that is what the exact requirement that is given down in the architecture, sir.
So the
Even if you
idea,
want to term it so, I'm completely fine with it. Whatever term you have for it, that is absolutely okay with me. But the only thing is that everything that we have laid down as architectural requirements, that must be satisfied.
understood, sir. Thank you.
Do we have any more queries on this challenge? All right, we take it as a no. Moving on to the next problem statement. Specialized indigenized hardware, AI, and storage computing based their solution for collating data from ships for analytic and deep. The problem statement will be visible on the screen. Just a minute. I hope it is visible on the screen for everybody. Requesting the nodal officer to take over the session. Am I audible, sir?
Hi, you are audible. I think DIT Inika is in the meeting. Lieutenant Commander Amit Kasana will brief on this. May I know who is from DIT? Is this Lieutenant Commander Amit Kasana in the meeting? A nodal officer?
Hello.
Hello, sir. I'm from DOI. We are discussing the specialized indigenized hardware AI and storage computing project here, and you're the nodal officer for this project. I request you to please brief this project and take the queries from the participants.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Lieutenant Commander Akash Tripathi here. I'm representing Inikai /DIT. in this outreach meeting. So, with respect to, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yeah.
No, I
So,
please confirm.
anything, ma'am?
DIO, I request you to please confirm, is the nodal officer.
Yeah, hi. Very good morning. This is Commander Sam from TDAC. Can we? I have a request to DIO. DIO, TDAC.
Yes, sir.
Can we have this electromagnetic launch system, please? And we can take up this specialized Indian hardware after this. If you're
All right, we want to
you
take
can.
over for P75 right now.
No, electromagnetic launch system. So this was a earlier disk that was postponed for today.
Okay, okay, sir. Let me just share it on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So we will start with this.
Please go ahead, sir.
Give us 30 seconds, please.
Sure.
I request DI to please be in the meeting. We will take this project next to this.
Good morning. Basically, we are looking for a EM launch system which can be capable of launching UAVs or any mission payload projectile, which will be basically based on bases as well as naval platforms. And remaining all that is listed in the problem statement. So, if is there any query, then we will be happy to address them. Okay.
From the participants, do we have any queries on this? Sir, is there
Hello.
anything else to be explained on this?
Hello, it's Mehboob speaking.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, loud and clear.
So actually, I had a query regarding the Okay, so I had a query regarding the weight class of the projectiles or the UAV we are going to work with.
Request come
Is
up.
there a weight class we should consider? Sorry.
No, that thing is not good. As of now, we have not specified
Hello.
any weight. That thing will be coming up clearly
Okay.
during phrasing of PDS PRU.
Okay. Okay, sir.
If there are no further queries, moving on, shall we move on to the next statement, sir?
Sir, can you just
Yeah, we'll move to the next one, please.
All right, the next problem statement is on the screen. I request DIT to take over this. DIT,
Hello, good
am
morning,
I
everyone.
audible?
Lieutenant Commander Akash Tripathi here from Inikai DIT. Just allow me 30 seconds. I'll get back.
Sure, sir.
Hello, good morning, everyone. With respect to this problem statement, wherein we have projected the need for a specialized indigenous hardware, AI and storage computing based layer solution for collating data and processing it. The problem statement is as flashed on the screen. From our side, the requirement was the idea was conceived from the fact that uh, from the two facts, basically, we have a lot of data coming in from the ships. So to make use of the data, we need to extract it, bring it to our facility, process it, and then make some kind of inferencing or use that data to train our models or create a required vector base of that data. So instead of doing it to utilize that data in real time, to process the sensor data and other all sorts of data for which we are developing various AI solutions on board ships and on the edge, the requirement was felt to have to upgrade our compute infrastructure. So the one way of doing it was placing like replacing the existing or augmenting the existing infrastructure with GPU enabled compute. However, that will require a lot of architectural change from the hardware perspective on board ships. So this proposal was brought in wherein we require something a sort of compact hardware sort of thing which accelerates this process of inferencing and also is able to do edge processing of data for various use cases. So it functions precisely similar to what a GPU does, but yeah, definitely that thing is done in on a more compact hardware and on the edge. So if there is any question related to this, I would be glad to take that.
Good morning, sir. This is Utkarsh from Zoid Technologies. Actually, I was reconnecting for a bit when you introduced yourself. Could I please get the name of the nodal officer and the
Yeah, I am
directorate?
Lieutenant Commander Akash Tripathi from Inikai.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to just give a slight addition here. A prototype of something similar what we are looking for is being developed by multiple firms outside. So if those firms are here, maybe they can add to the problem statement.
Hello, sir. Myself, Kiran. I'm from a company called SkyServe. Can I ask you some questions, sir?
Yeah, please tell me.
So you mentioned that you would I understand the current pipeline limitation that you explained. You also mentioned that you are looking for onboard data processing hardware, processing data from multiple sensors, and you mentioned for different use cases. Sir, can you elaborate on what are these different type of use cases?
Yeah, so I'll just, for paucity of time, I'll just put one use case here on the table. Let's say there is one application which is a computer vision based application which is being designed to detect the seagoing vessels or the type of seagoing vessels, and it completely works. It has to get feed from, let's say, four sensors, let's say from the AIS, from the GPS, it gets the radar feed, and also it has its own the AI model or the AI application which is required to give a solution or do the identification. Now, in present circumstances, we have to make a let's say we have all the feeds available with us on board, right? But
Yeah.
to make this solution deployable, we need to put a huge infrastructure in terms of let's say hardware racks with cooling systems, or let's say GPU workstations on board the ships, which again pose problems like like they are not ruggedized, or the issue is that they are not compact. So
Mhm.
to overcome these issues, so this is one of the use cases. Like this goes for almost all use cases. We have another application which does like which deploys an AI solution on the CCTV cameras. Like it's again
Mhm.
a computer vision based
Okay.
application. Again, to process the feed of the CCTV cameras, we have to get the feed to a central location and then do the processing. So if this device or the hardware is conceptualized with indigenous hardware and solution, so that we can deploy on the edge itself, and the requirement to make a complete separate infrastructure or AI infrastructure for this will be obviated.
Okay. Sir, you also mentioned that current you actually store the data and get it on a site, and you process it, and then derive an inference out of it. So so there is no data processing happening on ship. So what's the data flow architecture here, sir?
So at present there is no, I mean, whatever solutions are going on board ships or will be going on board ships, so we have to inherently send them with the compute as well, and that compute is decided based on what sort of compute is required for those applications. So, so this is a challenge for us. Every time we cannot keep adding to the like more GPUs, more workstations, more hardware. So definitely this ecosystem of AI is only going to grow, and more applications are going to come in on board ships and also in the bases. So that was the primary requirement for this.
Okay, sir. And also, sir, since it's mentioned that indigenization of this hardware plus software, so what's the current status, sir? How much of it is, indigenized as a hardware or software, and how much it is partial, sir?
So from our perspective, we have seen one solution like this, a prototype of one solution similar to what we have projected, and the claim from the firm was that it was completely indigenized. There was no component whatsoever from. Maybe they have sourced some of the, I mean, the processor part, maybe the GPU part of it. I'm not sure, like, of the internal
Okay.
architecture of that device. Yeah, because again, it was a prototype and they were in the research and development phase of their product.
Sure, sir. Sir, and one last question, sir. In terms of budget, so I understand that this problem is, by the looks of it, it's a huge problem statement that we have, and it requires like hardware and processing power, and also AI/ML as a models or analytics has been asked, and data to be processed on board ship. Sir, in terms of budget, how do we comprehend in case if it is not able to be or we can't provide such solution in given fund that is being provided by the provided as a part of challenge? So in such a cases, what needs to be done, sir?
I'm not sure whether I am the right person to answer to this. Maybe DOI can pitch in for that.
Hi, fund related issues are being handled by DIO. I request DIO to please pitch in.
Sir, can you come again with the question, please?
My question is, this kind of solution would require, hardware as well as software solution plus AI/ML systems to be built, which will process this data on board near real time and inferencing, all this involved from multiple sensors, not only AIs but multiple sensors. So, assuming that given budget would not be sufficient to build such a solution, in such a cases, what needs to be done? Can we, as a company, can we suggest that so on things can be done in X budget, but remaining things requires more budget? So how do we handle such scenarios?
Sir, the maximum budget for the disk problem statement that we can provide, we like the grant that we can provide is of 1.5 crores.
Mr. Kiran, you can write your queries regarding either the technical part of it or financial part of it to DIO. on the website, it is already given. So if the answer is not rightly available right now, you can write to them and they will definitely respond to your queries.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, one more thing. May I know what's
Am I
the
audible?
minimum order?
Can anybody confirm?
Yes, you are audible now, please.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible now.
Can anybody confirm if I am audible?
DIO, you are audible now. DIO, are you in a meeting?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are to me. Mr. Kiran from SkyServe, please confirm if DIO is audible to you.
Yes, ma'am. She's completely audible. My question was, is there any expected scale of units requirement or procurement for this indigenized hardware plus software, solution for onboard ship data processing?
Sir, these details will be shared with you during the PDS PRU after the HPSC round when you're shortlisted. So I suggest you to wait for the time.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. That's all from my end.
All right.
Hello. Ma'am, I had a question regarding problem statement 36. Can I ask now or?
Problem statement 36. Let me check. Yes, you can.
Actually, ma'am, the outreach session was scheduled for this last time, but due to unavailability of nodal officer or nodal agency, it was postponed. So, is the personnel available today?
That was discussed today.
It was discussed just before this problem statement.
Okay.
If you want to go through this, the recording will be posted on the YouTube channel of IDEX. You can check through that. Or if you have any questions, you can either ask here or mail us to our respective websites.
Yes. So I had just a couple of questions. May I ask now?
DOI, do we have the concerned nodal officer in the call for electromagnetic launch system?
TDAC is there, I think. TDAC, please confirm, are you in a meeting or off?
सर वो डिटेल है क्या
I don't think so. Somewhere someone is there from TDAC or NO is there. I think firm can write to us through you at IDEX website, and the queries can be shared with TDAC only.
Yes, ma'am. So, but actually, I had a couple of technical questions, technical queries. Will they be forwarded to the concerned nodal officer?
So you can write your technical query to DIO through the email ID, and they will share with us and TDAC. So your query will be answered. So.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, all right. May I know who would be the concerned nodal officer for this, or will that be confidential?
So you can just email your query to IDEX and we will escalate the queries to the respective nodal officers.
Okay,
And
fine,
we'll
fine.
make
All
sure
right.
your queries are answered.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then moving on to the last problem statement for today, virtual walkthrough model for P75 submarines. DOI, can you please help take over this session from the nodal officer?
Is Lieutenant Commander Akash Shinde available from this month? Are you there in the meeting, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, over to you, sir. Kindly brief the problem statement and take the queries, so as you get from the participants.
Right, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Commander Akash Shinde from Directorate of Submarine Acquisition. Thank you all of you for joining us on this outreach today. I'll take a few minutes. Ideally, the PDSPRU speaks completely about the walkthrough model that is required by us. However, I'll take few minutes and explain what exactly is the Navy's requirement. DOI, ma'am, we had submitted an updated PDS PRU, which says the problem statement as interactive virtual walkthrough model. I just want to confirm if the updated PDS PRU will be shared with the industry partners at a later stage.
Yes, sir. It will be shared post HPSC to the selected or shortlisted members.
Okay.
So
No,
for
I just don't want there to be a confusion because the problem statement being flashed right now says virtual walkthrough model, whereas the updated one that has been submitted by us is an interactive virtual walkthrough model. Interactive being the main uh, component of the entire equipment that is required by us. So I understand the actual one will be shared at a later stage. So I'll take it from there. Navy's primary requirement is an IVWT, that is an interactive virtual walkthrough model specifically designed for the Kalveri class submarines, which is the latest induction into the Indian Navy. The primary intended purpose is training tool for the naval personnel, primarily at Satwana, with also some operational component added to it, so that operational units can also use it for training purpose whilst at harbor. Uh, a little bit background at present, since this is a new class of submarine inducted into the Navy. At present, we don't have such detail oriented training tools available with us. Mainly, we are dependent on taking the trainees on board submarines and doing the training, or using cutout models, or using PowerPoint presentations or CBTs. However, an interactive virtual model is considered to be more detailed oriented, which will give better appreciation to the trainees and submariners that from the Kalveri class background. Initially, we are going with Kalveri class submarines because they are in larger number right now and operationally utilized as on date. The future scope for this project can be exploiting it for other classes of submarine. We operate for different classes of submarine today. So if this is model is proven wisely, then it can be utilized for other classes of submarines too. The scope, I would say, is the primary aim is to design an high fidel digital twin, replicate the exact submarine, Kalveri class submarine, wherein the trainee should be able to walk from a jetty past the gangway should be able to externally visualize the entire submarine's outer casing, the bridge fin area, the masts that are raised and lowered from the bridge fin area, go inside the submarine through a hatch, and then roam through the submarine from forward to aft, passing through all the compartments. Will also include all the systems and equipments. When I say that, our requirement is to go in as much detail as we can to the level of all pipelines, hydraulic pipelines, lube oil pipelines, and everything is covered under it. Maybe for the initial training, the trainees can just see the equipment, see the IPMS, see the location of and the placement of all the systems, and appreciate the location. But over a period of time, there should be a lot of interactive component that should be brought into it. When I say interactive component, let's say the IPMS, which is there on board, which is a very primary main equipment on board the submarine, from where the entire submarine is in a way operated. So the trainee should be able to stand in front of an IPMS and able to interact with it. When I say interact, he should be able to press the switches provided. He should be able to get a response in terms of alarms and indications provided on the screens. Uh, on the second level, the trainee, basic things such as operating valves, opening and shutting of valves, opening and shutting of hatches or doors, starting and stopping of compressors. So there will be a lot of background software design required with respect to the starting sequence of a compressor or a stopping sequence of a compressor, so that with time, when trainee sees, he does some preparations for starting of an equipment, he presses the start button, the entire sequence which happens in actual should replicate through a software flowchart, and there should be ability given to the trainer, the person who is operating, getting this training scenario uh, generated for the trainees, to actually create emergencies in between, say the tripping of compressor, and the trainee being able to identify the reason for tripping. So it need not be in as much detail as an actual compressor, but as simple as the starting sequence has started and it is suddenly abruptly interrupted in between, the system has not started, and an indication of low lube oil has come or a high temperature indication has come, so that the trainer can judge the trainee on what next actions he takes. To a level where, yes, starting of diesel engines from the IPMS. With respect to the entire submarine, primarily we are keeping the interactive version to only the platform side and not towards the combat side. The combat system side will primarily only be used only for the virtual aspect. The Because the data being confidential in nature, we ourselves cannot share the amount of data that would be required to make it interactive in nature. However, on the platform side, the data which will be required, there'll be multiple rounds of visits that will be carried out for the challenge winner to the submarine. There'll be subject matter experts attached with the challenge winner, so that the exact requirement from the field level is projected, and accordingly the software or the model is designed. uh, we require it to be a layered architecture model, so that when you start design, you will realize that it is a slightly complex this thing. So it needs to be layered, so that at initial stage you just replicate the 3D version of the entire submarine. At a later stage, you put in some more software programs so as to operate the walls and everything. At a further bigger stage, we will share an algorithm of how the compressor or any equipment goes from pressing the start button to actually going into that running positions. All those details will be shared in a gradual manner. So the entire this model being in layered architecture is a must to achieve that. Then coming on to the next most important part is the operational part. As to like in a submarine, there are total 9 to 10 personal watchkeepers at any given point of time who make the submarine functional, run the submarine through and through. So when I say this, what our requirement is a 9 to 10 VR goggle set, where the 10 watchkeepers can actually wear those goggles, walk inside the submarine, go to their watch posts, and start the entire evolutions. And when I say evolutions, they should be able to cast off the submarine from harbor, do the harbor navigation to a certain extent, because this is more platform based. So we'll not get into the navigational aspect of it, like there are other ships and submarines passing by nearby. It is more mainly the internal operation of the submarine while leaving harbor. The masts that are required to be raised are to be raised, lowered on time. If something gets stuck, how to react to that situation. Once you are in open sea, they should be able to visualize, take actions as to dive the submarine, take it to periscope depth, take it to deeper depths at 50-meter. Again, they are not feeling it that much because the submarine tends to incline at 5 to 10 degrees. To get that level of augmented reality might be difficult at this time, but we do need some amount of augmented reality. That's why even XR has been added to the PDS PRU, so that there can be AR gloves wherein the person can actually feel touch of an IPMS or opening of the exhaust flaps or the diving and surfacing system. They should be able to dive. The SOPs, the standard operating procedures for carrying out these main evolutions, will be shared at some point of time. So as they are, the partner is able to integrate them. The major SOPs, I mean, is leaving harbor, diving of the submarine, surfacing or bringing it back to periscope depth, starting of a snorting, like starting the entire diesel engine systems and carrying out the charging evolution, stop snorting, and urgent dive situation. So they do sound very complex. However, the actions that are required are like 7 to 8 step actions for each of them, so they need to be incorporated into the software. And I think there is these being the French class of submarines, the Frenchies already have a similar virtual walkthrough model system. It has not been acquired by us through the Frenchies. That's why we are taking this approach of IDEX and seeing if the Indian industry partners can innovatively design this. And with whatever limited interaction I've had in the simulators world with the Indian industry partners, I think we are capable of doing this. And there are a couple of firms whom we are already dealing with for other projects. They are here, and I think it's possible. If there are any queries from your end that you would like to ask, I'll be happy to elaborate further. Thank you.
Sir, there is a question. You are saying we will start with walkthrough, then we will add something. And in your documents also written phase 2, phase 1. So all those phases, all those steps combined are the part of this proposal only, or there will be
Yes.
upgrades?
And no, these are the part of proposal. There are future upgrades expected, but whatever I have mentioned in the PDS PRU is the primary requirement of today. As in, we want a virtual walkthrough model with three main components. One, an exact 3D replica, so that the trainee is able to walk through it and visualize how a submarine looks like, where the components are placed. Second, being the interactive nature, wherein the trainee is actually able to open a wall, like feel opening of a wall, shutting of a wall, starting of a equipment, stopping of an equipment, and the corresponding response is given by the software simulator as to an indication comes up saying the valve is open, a compressor start alarm indication comes, or a tripping alarm comes. That being the second part. And third part being the SOP and evolutions, the actual executions. Here, both aspects are there, the virtual aspect as well as interactive aspect come into the evolution part of it. The list of evolutions will, even though on board a submarine, the list of evolutions and emergencies goes up to 50 to 60, like various kinds of fires and flooding incidents and how to deal with them. The ones that will be shared with industry partner will be limited to at least 8 to 10 main evolutions and emergencies, wherein we would like to train our uh, trainees at Satwana or elsewhere, the operational commands. So these are the three main components that we are expecting right now. Like you said, the future upgrades that I can tell you, we would like. There are situations where a submarine at sea gives a distress call to the command saying that we are facing a problem in so and so equipment. The pressure is not building up. So for the people sitting back in offices, it's very difficult. They require to open the books, go through everything, and then actually take actions. So an upgrade is where we would want the people in the office, the commands and the Comcos organization being able to wear these VR goggles, actually appreciate what kind of a defect the submarine is facing at sea based on the limited data that they have shared, and be able to comprehend and provide a solution from remote. Oh, this case possible because someone at land has a lot of access to other facilities where they can approach the OEM or take inputs. So having a first hand experience, that is one upgrade that is expected in future. The second upgrade is with respect to the maintenance training. At present, someone who has just joined the Submarine arm, I don't intend training him into the detailed maintenance aspect of various equipment and system. We just want to primarily make him understand the submarining lifestyle. However, at certain stage, since this particular IVWT is expected to be deployed at Naval Dockyard Mumbai and Naval Dockyard Visakhapatnam, that is in both the Comcos organizations, if certain amount of maintenance aspect as is to how a filter of a diesel engine lube oil system is replaced or that level. So it will require us sharing MRC codes and everything, the maintenance code. But that are future upgrades that can be expected out of this, and also designing the similar IVWT model for other classes of submarines. But
Thank you, sir.
if yeah.
Next question is that what are you expecting any hardware based solution? I mean, computers and goggles will be there, of course.
Yeah.
What kind of hardware you are expecting in this?
See, again, this is a complete virtual walkthrough model, so it is
Okay.
just a software design. As part of hardware, what we expect are VR goggles. I'm not much experienced in this field. However, we would like some AR gloves to be included. There can be, I'm just giving an example. This is not primarily included. It is an actual open domain what the industry can provide. What the level of, like, it can have a platform, a simulator platform on which the trainee is standing. And when I say a diving operation, when a commanding officer gives a command to the trainees to dive the submarine, and they take their initial actions with the planesmen putting the planes down, the submarine going down, if the trainee can actually feel the inclination of angle, that itself in itself is a great achievement, that the trainee can feel what the submarine go, how does it feel when a submarine goes down. So there is no
More.
low upper limit to it. You can go as much in detail as you can, but primarily the VR goggles, at least 10 for the initial prototype, so that the 10 watch keepers and the cohesion between them can be tested, some amount of AR gloves and something, and a basic computer setup for the person who is training to actually simulate certain kind of things. Because once the people who are wearing the goggles are taking actions, the instructor should be able to utilize the computer, or even he can be on a VR goggle so that he can gauge what is going on and simulate certain things like leakage somewhere, or pressure not developing in a particular equipment.
It means you are okay with if whatever he is saying in the Google is reflected on the monitor as well.
Yeah, we are
Oh,
okay with that, because the instructor may not also wear the VR goggles because he'll be restricted by that. So he can be sitting on a computer, a couple of screens in front of him, where he can actually see the trainees also and what their behavior is, and while also actually visualizing what is happening inside the submarine.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Sir, I just wanted to clarify that the VR glasses or the platform that we are looking forward to, so are they means considered in the earlier stages or in the later? Like
Uh,
in earlier stages, are we just looking forward to like in phase one? Can we just divide it into multiple phases? Like in
So,
phase
so,
one, we are
so see, the final product requirement is one thing that is based on how good a prototype is developed, and the rest of the acquisition process, that whether we like the prototype and we decide to go ahead and buy the equipment. But the final product that is required, yes, it is required with the VR goggles, with the computer setup, with the AR, gloves, if they are feasible to be incorporated. For the prototype stage, we don't mind it to start with, say, 2 or 3 VR goggles, just so that you can explain it to the entire IDEX procedure. You will come across the HPAC team, you will come across the technical evaluation part and everything. So at that stage, we also need to actually wear it and see what you are offering to us, right? So I wouldn't say at the prototype stage you need to put in like all the 10 goggles. If it can be explained to us with just a 2 or 3 VR goggles and the software is up to the requirement of Navy, then I don't think that should be a problem. Later on, the contract can be framed in a way what the exact number of goggles is required, what exact number of AR is required. Like for example, during the prototype stage, if you come up and say, "Ki, sir, this is one VR goggle, this is one AR goggle. You can wear this and experience the entire submarine." I will do that, and I'll say, "Ki, oh, this is perfect. I would require 10 VR goggles and 10 AR gloves, so that all my trainees can actually feel it." So that way, the contract can be formulated according to that. But yes, the output should be visible to us at the prototype stage.
Okay, that I completely understood. Now, my next question is like in the prototype stage.
Yeah.
So, are we expecting the communication between the trainees at the real time? Like we have multiple ways to simulate a scenario. Like one
Okay.
simulation is that since you mentioned that there are 9 to 10 trainees
Yeah.
that are working on a submarine at a moment.
Yeah.
So one is that you are training each and individual trainee on a different scenario. Like one is working on some fire and all that you are
Yeah.
giving him that challenges. Other is flooding, and other is working on some leaking or low gas pressure. So are
Mm.
we expecting them all to be on a same submarine at same time, communicating in the real time, able to
Yeah.
visualize the other person at the moment, or are we
Ye-
looking onto the training based where we are giving him the stepwise instructions that
Okay.
he's following that?
Okay, I got your question. So, see, I'll put a scenario in front of you. 10 people wearing the same VR goggle walk through the same gangway, go inside the same submarine. The instructor gives them a very simple order: prepare submarine for sea. So, their actions are as per the book. They're supposed to check some walls and everything, and they're supposed to make the report. So, yes, we need all the trainees to be in sync. Now, the communication between them can be through this digital world, as in like through the simulation, like whatever a particular trainee is saying, like he gets a command, race not mast, and his response to that is race not mast. The communication can either pass through the digital mode and the other person can hear it, or it can be as simple as that, like all the 10 people are kept inside one room and they can hear each other, whilst they can also see and appreciate the actions that are happening in the VR with respect to the submarine part. But a particular individual's response or orders are also audible to all 10 of them. So it yes, communication is must between all 10 of them, because the evolutions are of that nature.
Yeah, so basically the communication is must, but it is not actually the requirement that they all must be like. I know that if one person is operating a valve at a certain point at a specific part of the submarine,
Yeah.
and the other person is also operating in some other part, so they
Yeah.
must behavior must be replicated on each of the builds. But
Yes.
it's not primarily that they are in the same build. Like if the communication is happening at the back end or somewhere else, so it is
Okay.
not like primarily that they must be in the same scenario only. Like the
No, no,
effect
no.
is
So no.
replicated.
So
Yeah.
see, this training, when this happen, whatever training that will happen on IVWT will primarily happen in one room, one building. So there is no scenario where I have kept one trainee on board a submarine. I have told him to wear a VR goggle and taken undertaken evolution with somebody else who is standing on jetty. That's not going to happen. All of them are going to be in the same room. All the submarine that all of them see and operate on through the VR will be the same submarine. Like if somebody actually raises a snort mast and there is another person who is also looking at IPMS at that point of time through his VR goggles, whenever that mast raises, that mast raise indication should be visible to all 10 trainees. It should not, like the submarine operation will be common to all of them. There might be a situation where one trainee, whilst wearing a VR goggle, has walked to propulsion room to do some local changes of position changes of a wall in propulsion room. So that trainee is gone to propulsion room now, but there is another trainee who is standing in control room, who has been tasked to do some other activity, just to probably pull a rope or get the planes ready for sea. So what actions here he is doing are not related to the actions that the other trainee is doing. So there is no communication required between them. But yes, if some action that he is doing is responsible to do changes. So when we get into the actual design stage, we will be assisting the industry partner in understanding that a particular valve in propulsion room, when that is opened, will give hydraulic pressure to the planes. So when that valve is opened by some third person in propulsion room, still the guy sitting on the planes will see an indication and realize, oh, now I have hydraulic pressure available with me, that means the wall must be open. So yes, it is a one submarine So whatever interrelated systems and equipments operations that happen should be visible, and the trainees should be able to appreciate why this is happening. Did I
Thank you,
answer
sir.
your question?
Yeah, I understood that.
Okay, thank you.
Professor, I have a question regarding the VR, AR, MR part. So, just before that, in AI ML, anomaly detection in simulated system diagnostics. So,
Okay.
this will be, can you just explain a bit more about it? So, is it just the alarms which are raised in the IPMS, or is it something different from the IPMS?
Okay, so let me put it like this. So when I say IPMS itself is very complex, but the amount of data that we'll be providing you, if I provide you the exact amount of data that is required for an IPMS, you can actually design an IPMS, but that is not the output that we are expecting. So only the limited amount of data which relates to operation of certain equipments, systems, undertaking the particular evolution of the 8 to 10 evolutions that I said, like diving and
Right.
surfacing, only that amount of data will be shared. But again, just appreciating that data and implementing it into the AIML part will be very difficult for you. So we have had a similar kind of project where subject matter experts were attached with the team during the development. So these guys will actually be standing with your software designers and explaining it to them that, okay, so let's just for example, the simplest thing, raising of a mast, we take it. So on an IPMS there is a switch, so he'll be briefing you, sir, when I raise this switch, first before raising that switch, somebody will give a command, then the trainee will actually flip the switch. Once that switch is raised, there are two pressure gauges which are supposed to show some pressure changes. This pressure change need not be exact. When I say for onboard submarine in actuals, that pressure change is something that is monitored very closely, because it actually indicates the rate at which the mast is raising, whether it is abnormal, if there is any fluctuation. It need not go in that much detail. All we expect from this model is there is some pressure change visible, like the needles are moving, and there is an actual mast raising happening, like the lower indication of the mast goes, and like he will indicate to you ki, sir, this particular mast raises in 20 seconds or 25 seconds. So that much amount of time lag is given, and after that time lag, the raise indication appears in front of it. When I say introduction of emergencies or simulation, the instructor who's sitting on the computer, after hearing this command, should be able to just use his mouse and click on that mast, which will give him like two options. Stop raising, like, isolate the
Right.
mast in the middle position. He just clicks it and the mast gets stuck in the middle, and then an alarm comes up. So the trainee realizes ki, oh, my mast has not fully raised, the pressure gauges have also stopped. So it is just a basic level of simulation. From the mast example, I'll take you to slightly complicated one. Let's say like diving a submarine, which is a very complex evolution in itself. So the trainee, the main officer of the watch, who is also wearing a VR goggle, gets a command from the commanding officer to dive the submarine. He starts his actions diving. Now the planesman puts the dive to down. Then there is an event where the main vents are open for the air to escape and the water to fill in. So out of the four, all four are supposed to open in sequence, but one of them doesn't open, right? So the instructor has clicked a button, and main vent number 4 has not opened. Only 1, 2, and 3 is open. Now this is a situation where submarine is in very critical state. Half of the submarine is getting filled, one part is not getting filled, so there is buoyancy over there. So the trainee is now required to take a very series of quick actions. So if he takes those quick actions, then it is fruitful for like, then the training is finally achieved. Whatever is required is achieved. So the trainee should be immediately able to take those particular actions. All of this, like what one particular SOP of diving, what all possible scenarios can be expected. One is a complete smooth flow of events successfully happened and the boat has gone down with no issues at all. And then whatever 8 to 10 small simulations that can be generated, interruptions that can be generated to increase the training value. All of this will be explained to the industry partner in sets. Ki, sir, ye diving scenario, this is how we want. So all of this will be an individual program that your team will make. That's why the first thing that I said is that it needs to be a layered architecture, because at this level you would already have designed the 3D module, you would have already designed the IPMS ka complete software part of it. But now I'll tell you ki, oh, when this particular revolution happens, this is what is the set of requirements. So that needs to be incorporated in your software. So the layered architecture will help you with not starting to write the entire code from beginning, but to just overwrite a particular aspect on top of it. So it will be explained in sets, Gaurav. There will not be any.
Right. So the rest of the IPMS will be kind of static or just for the information, and the interactive part of it will be limited to 8 or 10 problems or the evolutions that you will identify. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, static, not completely static. IPM, like I said, three levels of expectation. One is a walkthrough part, like a
Right.
complete 3D model,
Yeah.
walkthrough around it. Second is the operations of equipment and system, like interactive part. So apart from those evolutions, also when a compressor is started or an engine is started, the IPMS shows something on the screen.
Right. So
These
data,
parts are,
respective data
yeah,
will be displayed
yeah.
there.
So with respect to that, that's what I'm saying. Only with respect to certain equipment and system, whatever is required for training, that will be shared with you. That needs to be incorporated in the IPMS. And the third part was the evolution. So now all the equipments and everything is already incorporated by you. It is
Right.
just that when a particular evolution is happening, what role do these equipments play? Like say for an situation of a fire or a flooding, when a fire happens, there are 5 different people who are supposed to take 5 different actions within the next first 2 seconds. Like one guy has to press the alarm, raise fire to inform everybody that there is an emergency that is happening. The second guy is supposed to press crash stop ventilation. One guy is supposed to ensure that all the fans and everything ventilation is stopped. One guy is supposed to isolate the compartments. So this has no relationship with respect to the operation of systems, but there will be like the same fans which are normally started and stopped by the guy comes into play when this evolution is also happening. So once you have integrated all the system and equipment requirements, the evolutions and emergencies and operations, they just need to be gone through as per the SOP. There is nothing different or great in that.
Understood, sir. So in the cloud computing and data networking section,
Yeah.
so there is a point integration with real-time submarine telemetry.
Okay.
Can you explain or elaborate a bit on this?
And real time, see that's what my answer to the last question was, that what level of hardware do we require. Where when I say VR goggles, I know about what I understand is a person wearing a VR goggle can visually see everything. He can
Yes.
interact because there is a limited level of interaction that I have added. Maybe there can be a verbal interaction, like he says mast raising commence and mast raising starts. That is one thing. Or he actually has an augmented reality gloves in his hand, which he uses to flip a switch and the action happens. When you say real time as to a submarine, which is a 3D model in itself, the outer structure, the entire submarine moves through water, goes inside, comes out. It experiences a lot of motions, when
Right, right. So
all
it's not a
possible.
communication with any external entity,
No,
which is
it is completely internal, but I still said there is no higher limit to this. If the industry partners can offer something to an extent of a room where the entire ground platform is a augmented reality platform on which the sorry. Yeah, so I was saying ki if you can offer a platform on which a person is standing and during an evolution, he can actually feel the roll, the pitch, the diving of the submarine, and inclination of up to 15-20 degrees. In case of an emergency like fire and flooding happens, the submarine has to rush to surface at a very faster rate. So that 15-20 degree ka experience, if you can provide a trainee in, because it is an IVWT, it's an interactive virtual walkthrough model, whatever amount of experience that can be provided to be to the trainee would be great, but not limited to only VR and AR also.
understood, sir. Thanks.
Okay, right. Is there any more questions? DY,
Participants, do you have any more questions? All right, if we do not have any further questions on this, uh, these were all the problem statements that we had for Navy. If anyone has any questions on any of the problem statement or any of the IDEX processes, you can mail us to our mail ID. I'll display the mail ID and the contact details on the screen now. The contact details, the email ID for general query and technical query is given on your screen. You may note it down, and if for any of the questions, you can reach us to this email ID, and we'll make sure your queries are resolved. Thank you to the nodal officers, DOI, TDAC, and DIT for joining in and sharing the insightful details. Thank you to all the audience, and now we can conclude the session.
Thank you.